And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. Got a new Pop Culture Cosmos coming at your way here on Monday, so look out for that wherever you get your podcasts. Also, as well, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. We'll be covering the NFL playoffs. Going to get Chris Sardieri and the gang, hopefully Joe and Sean as well, to cover the football playoffs for you as well on Inside Sports Fantasy Football this week, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, as well, of course, don't forget John Costin's here, Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. He's a little bit bummed because the heartbreaker, as Blue Magic says it. Go ahead and check out. You could help mend John's heart by subscribing to Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. You like how I mended that in there, John?
I need that. That's how you help make my heart, man. Subscribe to the corner.
There you go. Yeah, subscribe indeed. But of course, also as well, Joe Soro. He's going to be here, hopefully, Oxide T47 at LakersBall.com. And also as well, Simblades, the company that he owns for your landscaping needs. Go ahead and transform it today if you live in the SoCal area. Simblades, SimbladesWithY.com, and his game that he helps to finance and has made a reality is available on Steam. If you're in the fighting game genre, please go ahead and check out Corrupt. Coreupt on Steam. That's all you have to do. Coreupt on Steam. I've done it myself. Comes up really easily, and you can get it right now. It is the premier indie fighting game. Corrupt. Also, as well, of course, the Lakerholics crew at Lakerholics.com. They were here yesterday. Truly appreciate them stopping by. I know that Jamie and I were having a discussion during the game about the value of Jared Vanderbilt, who was reported on by JJ Redick saying that he's getting closer and closer to a return. We were evaluating the value of said Vanderbilt. So if you want to hear more, go ahead and check out Jamie, Tom, Michael, L-Rob today on our Lakerholics shows or Lakerholics.com. Empire Jeff TV covering the Lakers and the Dodgers. Big shout out to him. Also as well, Lakers in 5. Daniel Barry Sports Highlights. Yo! Also as well, John McCalian channel, of course, as well. Big shout out to him. I see him every time now on social media. He truly looks like a happy man. He's got a young lady in his life, and I'm telling you, I'm just so happy for him. Just that change, man. When you go like as far as from the single dude, you're out there, you think you're living life, but then you get that great individual in your life, and it just you just see the happiness out there. So big shout out to John McCalian right there for you. Hope you're all as well, my friend. Also as well, Stone Hansen. Hope he's doing well. I'm gonna try and get Albert Esmond. I want to go ahead. Alfred Esmond. I'm going to get, if I can say that name right. Alfred Esmond. I'm going to try and get him locked in here for tomorrow. Also, as well, maybe I get the Legend 350 to join us as well for an NBA observations. Looking forward to doing that as well. But yes, go ahead and support all those great people. And then, of course, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break for us. Thank you. Mark, couldn't have done it without you. Could have done it without Sean. Could have done it without John. Could have done it without Danny. Could have done it without you. Could have done it without Laker Nick. Joe,
man.
That's another story. Could have done that with all those guys. So, yes, appreciate you stopping by. We had a big crowd tonight. I was trying to get to the VIPs, driving as fast as I can. Got John texting me. Can you help my bro out? Can you help my man out?
I was trying to help my dog.
Like, okay, VIP, trying to VIP as best I can. After a while, I was just saying, you know what? I can't do it till the second quarter. I can't do it the second quarter. I need to drive. I need to shop. I'll be there as fast as I can. All right, there you go, Adib. But also as well, of course, go ahead and make sure you like and subscribe. Please do so today. We're now over 2,010 subscribers strong, so please support us by subscribing. And then don't forget, $2.99 is a membership. That's all it takes, just $2.99 a month to help support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. A lot of people out there are upset. I'm going to say this.
I'm upset.
I've got nothing but positive things to say about the Lakers. Yes, they had a terrible first quarter start, but they could have just folded.
Absolutely.
After that first quarter.
Absolutely.
They decided to come back strong. They made a charge, almost tied the game. Couple mistakes down the stretch, but you know what? If we play this way, we should absolutely have that split in Texas we were talking about. A lot of people did not expect to be competitive today against a very good home team in Houston. And you know what? They gave Houston much more than they could handle. They came back on them with a very strong third quarter. Big shout out to the starting crew for the most part, and then also Dorian Finney-Smith off the bench because basically the Lakers only had 6 usable players that made contributions tonight. Yes, there were some lapses. Yes, there were some mistakes. First quarter and then down the stretch. Max Christie not realizing the time, not calling a timeout, or not lobbing the ball up for LeBron James while LeBron James was trying to call a timeout and a crucial inbounds play. But still, to get us to that point, we were competitive where we had a chance to win. I think goes a long way. But yes, the Lakers do fall 119 to 115. They are now 20-15 on the season. They fall down, I think, a little bit down in the Western Conference right now. They're still listed at tied for 5th, along with Dallas, who they play in a couple days. So we'll see what happens.
Hey, now.
You have a chance to get back up in the standings. They're only a half game behind Denver. And here today to go ahead and talk about today's game, what went right and what went wrong with Jalen Green going off, getting out rebounded quite a spell. Steven Adams looking like vintage Steven Adams. It's a good man indeed. He is, of course, the mastermind behind Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. It is, of course, John Costa. John, great to have you here. Looking forward to a good conversation. Your thoughts on today's game? Again, I'm going to try and keep things positive. I know
I love it.
The refs killed us. Jalen Green killed us. Got killed on the board. All those things aside, the Lakers still came back in the second half and had a chance to win the game. I mean, if they continue to play like this, both on the road and home, they're going to find the breaks more in their favor as opposed to what we see today.
But see, Gerald, when you say play like this, you have to specify play like this in the third quarter. Because the first quarter and that's my problem.
That's true. It looked like it was going to be a rout in the first quarter.
It looked like it was going to be rout, and that's my thing. So I love your positivity, and I think that the positivity is needed. And you have to.
I'll just say this. Let me just say this, John, real quick. We talked about down the stretch that last play, the inbound play, about the mistakes. Who should be blamed? Max Christie, JJ Redick for setting up like that, et cetera, et cetera. But JJ Redick, we've talked about how he needs to learn and had his ups and downs so far as a rookie head coach. Today, I think, was one of his better coaching jobs to get the Lakers back and make the adjustments at halftime to get this team back to where it was to have a chance to win the game. So I will say he is learning. He's adapting. And he's getting this team a better chance to win in games where we just thought, oh, okay, this game is over, John.
And that's a beautiful way to look at it, Gerald. And I think that's amazing, right? And it's kind of like how when I talk to Joe's always like, John, you're a good person. You're not like
tact, John, tact, John, tact.
And it's how I feel right now, Gerald, because Gerald, you're right. That's a beautiful way to look at it. But you know the way I'm looking at it? I'm looking at it that we gave up 36 points in the first quarter. We gave up 18 points to Jalen Green. Jalen Green by himself almost outscored our entire team. And this isn't just one of those cases of like, damn, like they caught fire, because yeah, they did catch fire. But shout out Xbox, because he's in the chat. Xbox was talking about it in the playback. And if you don't check out playback with us, come check that out. Very fun time we had watching the game. He talked about, do we realize that Dylan Brooks started on Anthony Davis in this game, and Anthony Davis wasn't even being aggressive enough, wasn't trying to go inside, wasn't trying to initiate the offense. And this is what I talked about that game. I think it was against the Cavs, or might have been the game after the Cavs,
where he got really abused against the Cavs.
And I was just like, I was talking about how like, when I made the comparison to Jokic, it's like when Jokic has a player that's smaller than him, or Jokic is a player that can't match up with him, which is almost everybody, but really just, I mean, like as far as height and strength, he takes him to the post and doesn't do anything but just lower shoulder and move him out the way. And that's the kind of I don't even see that once from Anthony Davis with Dillon Brooks on him. And when he does get to it, it's like he starts damn near at the 3-point line. So now he has to exert so much more energy just to move him out the way. When it's just these simple things that, not only didn't ignite our offense, but it also put us in a slump on the defensive end. It put us in an absolute slump because look at this, y'all. Anthony Davis, I say this. I don't know how to pronounce this word, but he is the Pendulum. He's the guy. Yes, he makes it fucking go. If he's down, we're down. If he's up, we're up. And without him, we're nowhere to be. Our defense is whack. Our offense is whack because he ignites everything. And when he doesn't bring it, there's gonna be a ripple effect. And I think that I love the fact that we scored 40 in that third quarter. I love the fact that LeBron started to turn it up. I love the fact that JJ Redick figured out the adjustments. But I don't love the fact that we put ourselves in the hole that we had to put 40 in the third quarter and then still we were down. That's a problem.
I understand, and there were times again where your why doesn't he give it a little more effort? Why he's got a small guy down below. But look at the stats and look what it's just hard to really go at AD today because you're asking for a guy 30 points, 13 rebounds, 5 block shots, and you still feel like he left something on the table.
Absolutely.
I think that's probably what I'm saying here is, because we just heard from you, you're just hearing all the negative, but I'm just trying to put in the positive that he did make a major contribution team. He even did something I don't like him doing, and that's shooting 3-pointers when he made 2 of 4.
Major.
I'll give him credit, and I don't still. If you ask me, I still don't want him shooting 3-pointers, but yet he made 2 of 4. He's still only 31% on the season. Again, I don't want him shooting 3-pointers, but he did, to his credit, make 2 of 4. He did score 30 points, 13 rebounds, 5 block shots. He does so much and is asked to do so much on one end of the floor.
Let me ask you this real quick.
I understand. I don't want to be too hard on him on days where he does look effective. There are the days like Cavaliers where we got roasted because we were so hard on AD. But today, at this point, I think, again, he did get beat. There were some choices he could have made better. But then again, that's for the entire Lakers team.
Gerald, real
just
quick.
A couple different choices would have decided.
Gerald, do you want to be good or do you want to be great? Do you want to be good or do you want to be great?
I don't know. 30 points and 13 rebounds is pretty great.
See, I feel like you're missing my point to what I'm saying. I'm giving him his credit. I just said amazing third quarter. We put up a great 40-point third quarter. But Gerald, we lose this game by how much? We lose this game 115-119. If AD has a half dominant first quarter and dominates,
I don't blame you. I'm 24.
Dominates fucking Dillon Brooks. Does this game change in your mind?
Again, when a 4-point game, just a couple decisions, and yes, it could have. The inbound play could have been done better. Yes, AD make a couple different choices. LeBron make a couple different choices down there. That terrible shot, that 3-point attempt he took, like less than 2 minutes left, that he was just trying to do the one leg thing again. Yeah, and it was just like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Get a smarter shot. The fact that they were, with less than a minute left, they seemed like they were taking their time, John, setting up these plays, and I'm like, I've got Xbox screaming out there, hurry, man, take the ball up the floor, hurry. Just these little things, they add up. And again, it's a team effort, and a team effort to bring them all back. JJ cooked a good plan for the second half. It just, again, that first quarter, like you said, is a big, tall story of this. Had they not have to overcome that entire, that lead, had they kept it closer in that first half, could have been a whole different story.
Had Anthony Davis
hold on.
Made it pay.
Shut up, Joe. Stop acting like an idiot like you normally do and get on the show.
God.
Idiot.
Oh man. you got to trademark.
Your brain is slow. Your brain moves like a snail, man. Oh, there's Joe. Oh, there's Joe. Oh, there's Joe.
You guys are hilarious. But look, Gerald, all I'm saying is had Anthony Davis made Dillon Brooks pay for trying to guard him early in that game. And how did he come out
Oh,
with
speak of the
energy?
devil.
I think it changes everything. And there goes that man. Mama, there goes
I
that
just love
man.
the fact that, when he comes on, with my name. And I'll just leave it at that. But
My
it's, of
name.
course,
I
it
can't
is,
see my name. It's got the scrolling thing in front of it.
you can put it's on there now. Your name's on here. But also, I'll put you up there. How about I'll put you up there and I'll put me down here. So there you go. Of course, it is. John, let me go ahead and let you finish up before I take it over to Joe.
No, I mean, no, nothing to finish up on. What I mean, for initial thoughts before I get it off to my dog Joe, just it just pisses me off with Anthony Davis. Again, not saying he had a terrible game. Appreciate him for the 30 points, 13 rebounds, great third quarter. But I'm just now nitpicking between good and great, and what could have really got us the win in tonight's game had he abused. Because again, we lost 4 points. He abuses Dylan Brooks for those 3-4 possessions that he's on him early in that game. I think could have a total
couple more
outcome in this game.
rebounds instead of giving him up to giving him up on the offensive end. I agree with you. I mean, Steven Adams killed it on the boards today. 7 offensive rebounds. You just cut that down in half, you win this game. But
Absolutely.
once again, it is the Lakers falling 119 to 115. They're 20-15, still 5th place in the Western Conference. And here today is a good man indeed. A guy I know we go back and forth, but I truly appreciate him stopping by for playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, and here and everything he does for us here at the channel. It is a guy impressive. I like the hoodie. It's really good, man. It is, of course, Joe Soro. Joe, great to have you here. Riding high on more Dodgers acquisitions. Looking good there. But your thoughts on what's going on with the Lakers? Again, this is a game that they came back strong in the second half. Made some errors down in those last couple of minutes. I would have liked to see them take back. But again, getting in the position where you can beat a team, one of the best home teams in the NBA, a team second place in the Western Conference, and staying right with them. If they can play like this again, Joe, and put these games together, we've got ourselves another good month ahead for the Lakers.
I'd say the frustrating part about tonight's game was it was a culmination of things. It wasn't so much one play here or one play there, because there's fundamental details that the Lakers don't do. And it has to be done by the players. How do you get it done by how does the coach do that? The coach has a role there, of course, but when you look at the great players that demand things, the great players in the past, you have to kind of rule with some fear. And at least that's what I've seen. Not all cases. Sometimes it's just some people take communication better in terms of like a calm communication. But I feel like the little things are not being done and they're not being addressed. The sideline issue. I as soon as I saw Houston pretty much nut up to every player in the front court, my initial instinct said somebody run to the other damn side. I don't understand why they don't do that. There was 7 seconds left. You had time. If you get desperate, do it. I don't understand why this team doesn't do the finer things well. The finer things, the little things. They're talented enough to do it. They don't do it. And it accumulates over a 48-minute game, especially when you're playing someone really good. If you're having a bad night, like it looked like they were having, that's fine. It happens. I get it. But the issues at the end of games especially are the identifier of who you are. You look at the Kansas City Chiefs, for example. I'll use them as an example. They're like the new New England Patriots. I remember for 20 years, all I heard was, the refs are helping the Patriots. Now it's the Kansas City Chiefs. If I didn't if I didn't hear what I heard before then, I can't base it off anything before the Patriots because social media has changed our perception of things so much. I'm trying to use the most recent stuff that would show that. But there's this excuse from losers that somehow they were helped and they win. It's not, maybe once in a while, sure, but more often than not, the teams that are going to be effective, the teams that are going to win and be champions are the ones that win these kind of games. We saw that for years with the Lakers in many, many different stints. And a lot of it is because of the finer things, the little things. If you're not able to inbound the ball, you can't even inbound the ball. This isn't the first time they've screwed this up. This was the worst one out of all of them, but they have a problem. And why would you put the ball in the hands of Max Christie?
He's not known as a passer, Joe.
He's not a good decision maker. He's not a good decision maker when the pressure's on him. I don't know if he'll develop that later, maybe, hopefully, but that's the worst guy to put there. You should have put LeBron there. You should have put AD there. Put the responsibility on those guys. AD's not going to shoot a three. AD is 7 feet tall. He can get the ball in over to the left or the right, whatever. Get the ball to LeBron. LeBron's the only guy on that team that can dribble and run without his skill being affected. I just it's today was a stamp of, if I'm the coach, I'm going into practice going, guys, you have to make a decision here on whether you guys care about the details. You really, really need to care about the details. You really need to focus on how to box out. 3, 4, 5, 7 scenarios in the game. If you do the fundamentals, you're not getting out rebounded. You're not going to have an issue with losing your guy. It's so many little details that make so much of a positive effort in the right direction. And it's not there. It's not there. They're winning on talent. They're winning on maybe a little bit of the parity in the game in the league, but I would be stressing that if I was JJ Redick at this point.
Let me ask you this before I bring back to John. Jalen Green exploded for 33 tonight. Again, as we were talking to Frank at the Chop Shop, Jalen Green is a very divisive player amongst the Houston community for all those reasons. One day he looks like that top pick in the draft. The next day he looks like just a guy that's just trying to get his own buckets and get his own stats, and it doesn't always look pretty. Today, the Lakers just didn't have much of an answer to stop him. What do you do when you have a guy that's going off like that? I mean, especially from 3, 5 of 12 from 3. He was hitting almost from the logo threes and all that. Just an excellent game for him. But what can the Lakers do to slow him down? Because there was a period of time in that late third quarter, early fourth quarter where they looked like they had an answer, but he turned it up once again late in the game.
Well, the first quarter was one of those zone moments for a player. Every decent, really good or great player is going to have one of those moments. You have to weather it. And they did, because he was really, I didn't really notice him as much after. He did have effective, moments, but the Lakers lost this game tonight. They lost the game tonight. They competed. They were making shots from 3 really, really well. They're on the road. That was very impressive there. But they lost tonight due to fundamentals. The little details were not there. If the little details were there, they would have won this game. And the little details are angles, bounce passes, knowing where you're supposed to be, knowing where you can throw the ball inbound. These are all things you have to practice. You think Kobe got, when Kobe would talk about his, and I'm going to use this as an example because it's a Laker thing and it's Kobe, but let's discuss this real quick and then I'll let it go to John. Guys, Kobe was at practice, not just shooting, okay? He was doing stuff like that, making sure his footwork was right, making sure he knew where angles he could work with, what his teammates are going to do, what his teammates aren't going to do. There's so much to this game from a mind perspective. It's and then at the same time, it's also how things react and how you can make them natural, where you're not thinking about them. I'm watching Max Christie do this, and within a second, the first thought I had was, somebody go to the backcourt, please. LeBron is a deer, even at this age. If LeBron just jets, they don't usually chase anyone to the back. Get the goddamn ball in. You have 7 seconds left, and LeBron James is the one guy in the league. There's more, but for sure one of 10 probably that I feel comfortable with him running back with the ball, because he's a freight train with control. And if he wants to stop and shoot the three, if he wants to get to the basket, you're down 2. Were they down 2 or down 3? They were down 2, right? Or they were down 3. So then at that point, then that point, he's running back, create some separation, boom, hit a 3, maybe.
Not even just that. I mean, just him going downhill.
You got to, and you got to know, like, I'm telling you this, guys, when we say certain players are not NBA players, it's not always physical. Everybody in the NBA can play basketball, okay? It's a mental part. It's the knowledge part. It's, are you prepared? Why didn't he call a timeout? He should know this. This is a Max Christie problem. Now, is J.J. Redick going to go in the locker room and say, damn, I should have told Christie that we had another timeout? No, that's not how it should work. Max should look at the sign and go, oh, okay, we have a timeout. If I can't get the ball in, I got to call a timeout. My entire basketball life, every time someone can't get the ball in, they always call timeout. Why did Max Christie do it? Because he panicked. And that stuff can't happen. It can't happen, right? It can't happen. This team has no margin of error. They got to fix this. They got to fix these little details. There's no other way. Otherwise, you're going to have more of these games. Like, figure out how to inbound the damn ball, dude. This has been a 2024, 2025 issue. Learn. Figure it out. That's like catching a fly ball, dude. Getting the ball in. Am I wrong?
No, and this is a game that the Lakers definitely could have had. If they play like this in the second half, if they take that style of game, they took that effort, they can easily win in Dallas and at least get the sweep. But still, that you figure, what did you leave behind? Because you had a chance to go ahead and get this game had you just done a couple things differently. But John, let me bring it back to you. One of those things that they needed to do differently is getting their ass kicked on the boards, because they did get their ass kicked on the boards. Let's just go ahead and say it like it is. What was it? The total is 39 for the Lakers and 49. They got out rebounded by 10. It seemingly was like 100 at times because Steven Adams was just owning them on the boards. Again, 7 offensive rebounds, looking like the Steven Adams of old. So with that, John, I mean, obviously a lot of people have been talking about getting the big body. I think we need depth everywhere. And of course, a big man to help out AD is obviously needed as well. I mean, this was definitely a case where you could say that the Lakers, if they had more size, putting Rui as your center at times, they had that lineup. JJ went back to that lineup again because Jackson Hayes was ineffective tonight. He looked terrible tonight. And in so doing, they went back to Rui at the 5, and they paid for it, John.
Yeah, Steven Adams really made us pay for that small ball, and honestly,
he was probably salivating when he saw Rui.
Like, was just excited, right? And the crazy thing is, for him, he must have loved it. And I don't know if you've seen when he checked out a game, but he got a standing ovation from his bench because of the work that he was doing on the glass, and that's because, I mean, the Lakers had nobody else to put on him. If it's not AD, it's gonna have to be Rui. And Steven Adams felt great about both. I don't even know what Steven Adams how many minutes he averages per game, but I'd love to see how many minutes he averaged per game and see if he played. I think he played more tonight than what he's averaging because
remember he had that massive knee injury and he was out.
and he was out for a
He was
long
out
time.
over a season.
Yep.
Remember he got traded. He did it with Memphis, and he got traded to
Yep.
Houston while he was
While
still
injured.
recovering from the ACL because it was a contract deal. Houston wanted the contract because I think it's expiring this year, like 15 million. Yeah, so
it was a great pickup.
Yeah,
it was a great pickup because. Yeah, I mean, exactly. You see what he's doing. He provides. I was talking about in the playback how he's probably one of the best like screen setters on this league, and in basketball, if you could get a good solid screen, that could make you wide open. To be honest with you, so you get a great backup big who can tear up other teams for starting bigs in a league like this, and you get somebody who can easily create offense for you because of those screens. Love to see it for the Rockets. Hate to see it for the Lakers, knowing that we've been needing a backup big. But you know what? One thing I did say on the playback is that the good thing about the bottom, and I'm not saying we're at the bottom, but during this game, there was points where it felt like we were at the bottom. When the good thing about when you're at the bottom is you can't go down anymore, right? So the way I am looking at this, and I'm hoping that management is looking at this and saying, damn, we really, really need to help AD with the real big. And I hope this just puts a little bit more pressure on them to get it done because it's been a glaring need, and there's no way that everybody here in the chat, and I know the Lakers fast break and the Lakers corner family. I know we're very smart, but there's no way that we just see such a glaring hole, and my dog Rob over there just doesn't, or it just isn't doing anything about it. So. Hopefully this will open up the eyes of management to see that if we want to be competitive, if we want to do anything of any significance, we're gonna need that big.
Parade on Figueroa has a great question. I'll hit it to you, Joe. It's on that last play, and then John, I have something for you on Amen Thompson, just so that you know, because he had a tremendous game. Give him credit where it's due. Something what was talked about last night from Frank the Chop Shop on our conversation there. So I want to go ahead and hit you up on that. But Joe, Parade on Figueroa has a great question. He's on Twitch, by the way. Please follow us there if you get a chance. Does the panel blame Christie or JJ more for that inbounds play? For me, I'd probably put JJ as my blame because Max is not a good passer. Max, we've talked about it for a while now, how the one really deficient area of his game is his playmaking ability. I remember that there was a time where Ham experimented him as a point guard, de facto point guard, and that was just ugly because he just cannot facilitate the way you want to. He does other things good. That's just not one part of his game he's developed yet. But Joe, and I'll bring it back to you, John, as well. Who do you think is more responsible for that play being not executed? Especially, I know that Darren still blames LeBron, but LeBron was calling a timeout, and you got to lob it to a 6'9" guy over a 6-foot guard anytime anyways, Joe.
I have to blame Max first. He is the guy that made the mistake, but I think JJ's issue is the preparation on this issue that they've had. JJ needs to fix this problem. He needs to set maybe a 2-hour a week schedule where they inbound the ball. It's unacceptable. This isn't the first time. This was finally, it came to a head tonight. He should have had AD take the ball out.
I would say, to me, LeBron, because there was enough time on the clock where you could have got.
You could have LeBron do it, but I would have a play where LeBron inbounds it, but he's got to get the ball right away.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Because you see, anything under 5 seconds, no, but over 5 seconds, I would say that's an option.
But even in that case, it's still kind of risky. 7 seconds is not enough. If it was 15 seconds, I'd say yes. I would have had AD take the ball out, and then use the other side of the damn court if you get desperate. Or you knew you had a timeout, didn't you, Max? Maybe that was JJ's issue. Did he tell Max, hey, you have a timeout, call a timeout if you don't get the ball in. Don't take a chance. It's just not I've seen a lot of basketball in my life. Even that pass that you noticed too, Gerald, when we were watching the Dorian Finney-Smith pass, when he was almost trying to break, he stopped and threw it in between two Rocket players to LeBron. Now it just happened to clear those guys, but I'm like, what are you doing? Those are signs that I see throughout a game. That one was a bad one, probably one of the worst ones I've seen that actually worked. So it wasn't as bad, but these are the things that I don't understand what these coaches and these teams are doing. Their preparation is horrible. And I'd like to think that LeBron, being this basketball IQ guy, I would like to think that this guy would be pressing his players, hey, get in the position. Hey, do this. What the hell are you doing giving me the ball in between two guys? I mean, I used to see one of those mistakes every now and then. And, man, I would look at Phil Jackson. I mean, it was pure comedy. It was, you knew what was coming. As soon as that ball stopped, and you all know how Phil used to walk, right? He had to shift his hips. Man, when Phil got up, when you did something stupid, I was like, oh my God, get the camera on whoever that player is, because he's either gonna get the look or Phil's gonna do that dad mode where he's like, really?
Somebody's in the chat. Watch out. That there's a new one, Joe. There's a new one.
Who's in the chat?
Christian Paul something or other. He called you basketball IQ, then just laughed at you, and then said fanboy pleased.
There
we go.
We found our target tonight.
Bad boys.
Well, let me say this. There's a sucker born every minute, and Christian, welcome to the world. You're born.
You're not too Christian, man. You should change your name.
Go ahead, Joe.
Well, I can say,
if you don't think LeBron doesn't have that, Christian, you're not watching basketball, brother.
The details is the most important thing coming out of this game. The little things matter. This is a legitimately contending...
Oh no, we won't block you, Christian, because you're not doing anything offensive to our chat. No, we just gonna troll you like you're trying to troll us. We're just better at it than you are. And once you come to this channel, you realize that we're better at it, especially him. Especially him.
He's getting his attention. That's what he's here for.
Yeah, that's what he's here for.
Joe
will call you out. Don't worry.
The details are important, and this is what I took away from all this. They're going to have to tighten it up that way, otherwise there's not going to be a good ending. That's it.
Okay, that's very calm. Okay, just keep your eyes on the chat, Joe, in case he goes off on you a little bit more. But it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do win 119 to 115. Again, could have had this game. A couple things changed. But, John, I want to bring you to Amen Thompson, who really had a strong game today. I know that we had a conversation yesterday with Frank from the Rockets Chop Shop. And in doing so, one of the things he said, this team, he felt, in his opinion, was offensively challenged. And Amen Thompson, as his game grows, what are the things that are going to, that has to improve, his shooting, things of that nature. He didn't get anything from you from three, but he found other ways to impact the game. 11 to 19 for him, 16 rebounds. He affected the game in a much more positive way than I think anybody realized. He did hit that when LeBron and I think DFS were double teaming in the corner, Jalen Green for like an off balance three. That left him wide open to go ahead and do the putback slam as far as catch it on the fly on the, I think it was just an air ball. Those kind of things, that's what Amen Thompson does right now. And as you see him developing his game, he's going to be a special one. I think he's going to be a really good one for Houston. And if you could find any type of offensive consistency more like this, the sky's the limit for Ahmed Thompson.
It absolutely is, Gerald. And I mean, he not only did he have the double double, the 23 and 16 boards, but I'm looking at the 6 offensive boards. I mean, you could look at other bigs around the league. Not even bigs aren't bringing in 6 offensive boards a night. And I'm not saying that he's doing this on a per night basis.
No, he's not doing it on an every night basis. Yeah, I mean Jarvis says 11 points a game, but yeah, you can see where this is headed.
Exactly. No, absolutely. I mean, I think he's got great potential. I really believe that he's got to grow into his body a lot, and I think he's got a lot of growing pains to go through, just because him and his brother went through that like OTE
overtime elite
league, and granted, like, you know, I'm all for, you know, new paths and new ways of life, which I think is cool and all, but the competition, you just can't put that competition against college level competition or even overseas competition. So I do think that they're a couple years. I think they're a couple years behind, to be honest. They're going to be a little bit of a late project, but I could see them being big time, you know, defenders
They're
in this
both
league.
starting to put it together.
Absolutely right. Yeah. And I really don't want to mispronounce this person's name, but it's Kanwabe or Kanai, the one in the chat. He said Amen Thompson is a mini OG Ananobi. I love that. That is a great comparison.
Kwabena is his name.
Kwabena. Okay, appreciate you, Kwabena. Great. Amen Thompson is a mini OG. I could absolutely see him, you know, getting to a point where lockdown defender, one of those guys that you play with on basketball that's just built like a tank. You're just not moving those guys. He can figure it out on the offensive end as he, you know, from team to team and as he advances throughout his career. But tonight, great game from him, and unfortunate that we lost. That's really unfortunate, because they all put up a great game, but shit, we should have won this game, guys. The way we fought back in that third quarter, and man, I'm the type of person where I hate doing stuff for no reason, and felt like that was for no reason coming back like that.
I'm going to hit up Sports Baby's question in a sec, but Joe, the bench tonight was absolutely putrid. I mean, a lot was placed on the starters for tonight getting the job done. But for the bench, Joe, outside of DFS's performance, which was his best as the Lakers by far, 5 of 9, 13 points for him. The Lakers only added 3 more points off the bench, including a donut from Connect, Shake Milton with 1, Jackson Hayes with 2. And Jackson Hayes on the defense, don't even get me started. His defense was so bad, he was actually pulled off the floor. That's when they went to Rui at the 5. I think they need to find well, this has been a thing all season, Joe. Because this team does not have quality depth, we've had a problem with our bench being one of the worst producers in the league. And you're so reliant on your starting 5 to get things done. What do you see that needs to happen to maybe change things up to get a little bit more spice coming off the bench?
It's going to be hard with athletic teams like the Rockets.
Like Detroit the other day as well.
Detroit as well. It's very difficult for Jackson to use his athleticism against athletes that know what they're doing athletically in certain moments. Jackson has a lot of ability, but he doesn't have very good footwork. He doesn't anticipate very well. He just doesn't have those things, and it'll be exploited against those who do. Now, what saved the Lakers tonight was they made timely shots. Timely shots are extremely important in 48-minute basketball games. You could have a bad first half, but if you hit a couple of momentum-changing threes here and there in the second half, you can ignite your team. Looking at DFS's best game as a Laker so far, I was pretty comfortable in saying that he only hit 2 threes, but he hit 2 threes at a time that they really needed them, and it really jump-started their comeback. So with Jackson, he is who he is. The Lakers the Lakers need a big that can have a better center of gravity, kind of like Aquaman. Aquaman is that's who he is, and it's unfortunate that he can't stay healthy because he could really he's a quintessential team center that would be perfect for a championship team. And that's really what the Lakers need. They need someone like that can frustrate the other team because, number one, they can't move him, and he's able to do what the team needs him to do.
Once again,
Jackson Hayes is not that guy, unfortunately. It's just, I don't think it's
and I know you've been really high on him, and I don't want to, this is not just to me, your banter type deal, because I know you're really high on him, and I do want him to work out, but I have just not seen the same things that you have from Jackson Hayes. I really think defensively, he's just been more negative more times than not. And the thing is, for a guy that's 7 foot coming into there, trying to go ahead and anchor your defense coming off the bench, it should be a lot more stable than what it is when he's in there, Joe.
It should be, but he's not. It's just not something. I base his ability on resources spent. He's a minimum player that's doing more than a minimum player, and that's how I look at it. But in games like this, it's going to be a struggle. It was a struggle I remember vividly when Vando was playing that first year after the trade. He was winning games defensively. He was making amazing plays defensively. But as soon as he met a team that could exploit his weaknesses, that's when his play became non-existent. And Jackson Hayes will have that against teams that are athletically freakish, like Houston is, like Oklahoma City will be. Boston isn't so athletically crazy, but they're very efficient in terms of their ability to fundamentally play basketball and make shots. So you look at Jalen Brown, as obviously he's a freak athlete. Jason Tatum has his moments, but you're never going to look at Porzingis and say he's a athletic marvel. You're not going to really look at Drew Holiday and say, oh, this guy's, Robert Pack. No, they have the athletes where they need them. They're number 1 and 1A, but everyone else plays very good sound basketball, fundamental wise, team wise. And the Lakers, I think, are a couple players away from doing that. But at the same time, they have to fix these little things. Otherwise, it's just never gonna get to that winning level that we want.
Once again, it is the Lakers falling short on their comeback attempt, 119 to 115. Let me get you to what Sports Baby was asking. And yes, I did get Sean that link. I just must have gotten it to him a little bit too late. My apologies on that, Sean. Hopefully you're listening and watching. Get on here ASAP. Let me go ahead and get you back into John, because Sports Baby was asking a question because he says that the Lakers are losing to top teams. Houston is right now, record-wise, the second best team in the Western Conference. He says, is it a mental issue? I mean, Houston's one of the best home teams in the NBA. I don't know if it's a mental issue when you're going in there and you're almost taking that game away from them with a great second half, John.
Yes, sorry, my table just broke right in front of me. But no, I mean, look, I don't think it's mental. What I'll say is, I think it's mental. I think it's mental with Max Christie at a point, right? Because I think that there's times when I look at him, and I'm not a body language doctor. I'm not gonna act like I'm a professional, but I could just see the body language in him, and he doesn't even believe in himself and his own skills. I would say at times, but there's other times where he looks really confident when he's shooting confidently, dribbling confidently, and in those times you can see it as well. With the mistake that he did tonight, that shit is kind of unexplainable. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, he literally choked. It's like what Joe said. He had a timeout to call. It's on him as an inbounder to call it. He didn't call it, and that's that. I think that's a big reason why we lose the game tonight. I think that there are other reasons why we lost this game as well, but where was a big chance to get us right back in this game, that goes out the window. Now, is it mental? Do you mean against this team, or you mean just what do you mean, Gerald? Against good teams?
Well, Sports maybe just said, is it just mental that it's in their head that they can't beat those top teams in the Western Conference or Eastern Conference? I guess he's comparing it to the Cleveland Cavaliers loss. When the Phoenix Suns were rolling earlier in the season, they lost there. I don't know what he was getting at, because again, they're the top teams in the NBA for a reason. And it just shows you, when you don't have a team that has a full roster of players that can help you, sometimes you're just not going to be able to beat those really quality teams, especially on the road. And the fact that, again, they were essentially one possession away from winning this game, I think goes a long way to show just how competitive this team really is.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that we're a top team in the league, so it makes sense that we're getting beat by top teams in the league. But Joe, on yesterday's stream, or was it yesterday? No, Friday. I think it was last time we played. Yeah, it was Friday. He said a healthy and rested LeBron James and Anthony Davis, like, this team could do some damage. And I mean, I think you can see it on a night like tonight, not in the first quarter. What we can do, that we can hang with some of those top teams in the league. I think just not on a night-to-night basis, because you got to give LeBron every other day and a half to rest. But no, I wouldn't say it's mental. I would say the top teams are beating us because they're better than us.
Joe, you concur? I mean, again, this is a game where, just a couple things taken care of in a different fashion. The refs make a couple different calls as well. Let's not leave the refs out of this. I know that's easy. That's low-hanging fruit. Every crowd base looks for it. They always argue that about us, is how we get the calls. They don't. But today there were some clear misses by the refs that, again, could have swayed this game.
Well, the refereeing, in terms of just the fact that they started the game with a review after 30 seconds, and it took
I saw that
5 minutes of real time. I'm going. I would love to see who started watching that game and then turned it off after that. I'd like to find out how many people did that.
Well, you remember everybody was looking for the VIPs. I'm just driving on the road, and then all of a sudden they saw that first quarter score, Joe, and they turned it off.
Which is fine. I mean, that's not necessarily anything that has to do with officiating, but the Houston Rockets are a very young team. The Oklahoma City Thunder are a very young team. Young teams against a motivated Anthony Davis and LeBron James. You don't really know yet what the results of that are going to be. Where the Lakers have suffered the last few years is they've played the last 3 losses. Obviously, they didn't make the playoffs in 2022, but in 2021, 23, and 24, their last 3 losses have been against teams that either went to the finals and almost won it, or probably should have won it last year. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that when you do have those veteran guys that know how to play in these kind of games in big moments, they're usually going to have a very good shot at winning. They have to play somebody like an MVP like Jokic, or at that time it was Booker and a very motivated Phoenix, fully Arsenal team. CP3 was having one of his probably best seasons, believe it or not, that late in his career, and couldn't close it out. But again, it takes that kind of team to put the Lakers away with LeBron and AD. I believe.
I was just going to say, Darren calls us the bad boys of Lakers talk. We'll take it.
I believe that Rob, unless he gets a deal that really makes sense, I believe he's going to wait this out until he knows he doesn't have to give up too much to get a Kessler or a Valanciunas or any other center that might be available. And then they still need a scorer in the backcourt. They still need someone that can score. Those are the two things that this team desperately needs. And I think it would really, really, really give them a shot, especially if they end up getting even inside the 6, even if they end up getting a 6 seed, it would help them. So it's a lot of they're 20-15. They're 6 games away from being halfway through the season. I had chalked this game up as a loss, so maybe that's probably why I'm not too upset.
I'm not too, because we just say get the split. Get the split.
I don't like to do that either, too. Some of that because when you get this close, then you get greedy.
Yeah.
It's a good greedy, though.
And I understand.
Man, win the damn game, right? And I'm like, okay, if I'm JJ Redick, I'm like, all right, guys, we got to clean up some of this stuff. But, man, we got a really good schedule coming up. We have Luka not playing in the next game for Dallas. Let's win that game, get back home, and run the table home. They play well at home. And let's get this thing. Let's get this record. They can get to 25-16.
Hey, appreciate you, Darren, for the compliment. But real quick, Sports Baby, he said, I still think it was a mistake letting go of D'Lo. I wonder what John thinks. I just want to respond to him because I appreciate you, Sports Baby. And here's my answer real quick. If you want a long story and like a 7-minute video explanation of what I really think, go on my Lakers Corner page. I dropped a video on it. But just real quick, what I just think is, I think it's unfortunate because I do think it was our best playmaker. I do think that he was the best player that we had on the team to initiate the offense outside of LeBron. We can't ask LeBron to initiate offense every single time down court. But now we're putting that role on AR, and I think that just at the end of the day underutilizes him because he's best used at that 2 looking to score. So that's just my take on that, Sports Baby. I just wanted to answer you, but we don't got to harp on that because I know we talked about that.
Well, I'm just going to say this to add on to that. I know DFS had a pretty good game today, and I know there's probably the temptation that J&J will probably at some point put him in the starting lineup ahead of Rui. I think after what we saw today, that might be what we got. But when you trade D'Lo for what you did, it's now a lot harder to make that bigger trade because Joe even said himself, and I've said too, how do we think that the Lakers are going to be able to get to that level? Do we think a Kessler, Sexton deal, would that make it? I don't think it would put you at that level. Some people think differently, and I respect your opinion if it does. But like Joe, I think a 3rd star or a 3rd, as Joe said, a premier scorer and a big man would be, something that would be great. And all the deals that we discussed involving those type of people need the money that D'Lo's contract would have given you to get there, John. And that to me is something I think is now much harder to go ahead and get that name, get that big, splash that a lot of people are still hoping that Rob will get. And it's going to be a lot harder to do that because you just don't have the money in contracts unless you trade AR and Rui. Both.
Yeah, and real quick, Mission said, "Stop it, John. D'Lo play like a girl." And this is one thing I gotta say, and I've said this on my video. If y'all want to check it out, look. I'm not backing D'Lo. I'm number 1 attacker when he needs to be attacked, but I'm also number 1 defender when he needs to be defended. And I am just pointing out a simple fact. And whether you like D'Lo or don't like D'Lo, we can all agree that his best trait as a basketball player is to play, make, and pass and set others up. That is essential when you have a player like Anthony Davis on your team who needs to get those easy setups, those easy lobs. Jackson Hayes, easy lobs at the hoop. Koloko, easy lobs at the hoops. That's all these guys do. And AD, no, he does a lot more. Hayes and Koloko, they're literally respectfully, they were put on this earth to set screens and jump high and dunk the ball. And D'Angelo Russell is right there to give him that. And that's the only reason why I said, and again, it's not, Austin Reaves can do all of that, but I just don't think he can do it at the same level that D'Angelo Russell can. Pass. Austin Reaves is a better player than D'Angelo Russell. Austin Reaves is a better player than D'Angelo Russell. Before you guys freak out, I think that's what I'm saying. No, Austin Reaves just cannot pass and play make as well as D'Angelo Russell can. That's it.
Well, Joe, one of the things Sports Baby was commenting on was about the fact that he said, I think Rui, I think also as well, Austin Reaves, just not consistent enough for him. And I'm saying to myself, defensively, I'll never argue with Sports Baby on that. But offensively, today, 21 and 10. I mean, 6 of 13, could have shot a little bit better, but 3 of 6 from 3, 6 of 7 from the line. If you have a guard that's getting you 20 and 10, terrible defensively. I get that because he's even worse now that more has been put onto his plate. I get that. I'm not going to argue with that. But offensively, Joe, these were the kind of numbers that we were hoping D'Lo would get, and now Austin Reaves get it. But still, there are a lot of people out there that are not satisfied with his performance as far as consistency. I think from an offensive standpoint, I can't really argue right now because that's probably the maximum you're getting from him offensively. But defensively as a whole, when you look at the total picture, I get it. I understand it. What are your thoughts right now on Austin Reaves? Because again, I think it's an undrafted player who the Lakers have pretty much grown him from the start in the NBA. I think this is the maximum of what you're getting from it. And right now it's not that bad.
You've squeezed every ounce of talent out of Austin Reaves.
I agree.
You've squeezed every ounce of talent out of Rui Hachimura. It's you rarely see us really land-based, let's say Rui. Austin, not really much. And we've been getting on AD a lot more lately because he's AD. We need him to be an MVP type player. The frustration with D'Angelo Russell is this is the second pick in a draft. A guy who just broke a Laker record. Imagine that. This guy owns a Laker record, the greatest basketball franchise, in my opinion, that's ever existed. And when you look at his ineptness, it's like, dude, really? You're back to this again? You couldn't continue this shooting that you were doing last year in the second half? It's different. It's different for certain players. And when you get on this, well, I'm on this guy's fan base or fan club or bandwagon. Look, that's great. I'm glad people like certain players, and I do too. Don't get me wrong. I love specific guys too sometimes. Powell was one of my favorites, obviously Kobe. However, this team has squeezed every ounce of energy out of what they have. And that's good. It's great. Which only proves more that this team needs more ammunition. And we've been saying that since the draft. It needs more ammunition. And it get two huge holes that they have right now. So JJ Redick said that defensive rebounding was what killed them tonight. I can obviously agree with that. That was probably ultimately, if you had to pick one problem, that was probably what it was. You can't do that relying on Rui Hachimura and Austin Reaves to do it. You're asking those guys to do stuff. That's like asking a wide receiver to play quarterback. It's just not in the cards for those guys to, well, just go do this. Just go do that. And it doesn't work like that. That's not their job. They can't do it. I can yell at them and say, box out and do that. I've done that. But that's because they're under the hoop already. That's what you're supposed to do. But I can't expect 5 guys to be at the basket trying to get a rebound, especially your guards or your small forwards. Guess what happens if that shot gets missed? Obviously, there's a free basket on the other side. There's a lot of things that come into basketball than just boxing out and making sure you do the right thing on a defensive rebound. This team needs a center that can take up space. We don't need a great rebounder, but We need someone that can take some space so that there's a better chance for those rebounds to go to us. And then we absolutely need a shot maker. Max Christie has improved, but he's never going to be a consistent shot maker. He's not there yet. I don't know if he ever will. I'm sorry, AR. He gets in a zone sometimes, but he's still not that guy. And I don't think he ever will be. Lakers need to cover those two holes before the deadline. Otherwise, it's gonna be like this the rest of the way.
Man, guys, let me jump in here real quick. Please, please let me jump in here because oh my gosh, you guys are about to witness a murder scene here. Homelander, brother, strap in for a ride, brother. You genuinely think in your heart of hearts, so you could just either before I do this to you, you could just go in the chat and say, John, I'm sorry, I'm not really watching Lakers games. I'll give you the chance to do that if you want to do that. But I don't think you're going to do that. So let me go ahead and just kill you here. You want to talk about Austin Reaves' last 6 games? Go ahead. Let's go ahead and talk about those 6 games. Do you look at the turnover category on those games? Do you watch the games? And do you understand that basketball is not black and white? Basketball is not simply just numbers. There is so much nuance that goes on in the game that you cannot tell if you're just watching that box score or watching that quarter by quarter score. Austin Reaves does not have the natural ball handling and playmaking ability that D'Angelo Russell has. And if you cannot watch those 2 players and tell that, brother, I'm here to tell you basketball is not your sport. Try cricket, try soccer, try baseball, try any other sport because basketball is not your sport. D'Angelo Russell, one of the reasons why he was even such a high draft pick and even came into this league is because of his elite playmaking ability and getting others involved. So what in the fuck do you mean saying that Austin Reaves can pass better than him? No, the fuck he can't. Austin Reaves, you know why he got into this league? Not because of his natural playmaking ability, because of his ability and his knack to score, which makes him a 2, which is exactly why I said the point of he is better off as that 2. No, I am not saying that I'm not saying that D'Angelo Russell is a better all-around player than Austin Reaves, but D'Angelo Russell is a far better playmaker and a far better passer and a far better ball handler than Austin Reaves. He's not a better shooter. He's not a better scorer. Austin Reaves is a better scorer. Austin Reaves is a better shooter. And I would take Austin Reaves if you just asked me to pick one player. But brother, if you want to talk about playmaking, don't just look at the assist category. Watch the game. Watch the tape, see the nuances, and look at the turnover category because he's been leading the way all of those games that you just highlighted. And who is that? Is that Gerald or Joe?
I'm doing it this time. I didn't want to do it right in the middle of the thing, but there was a couple points where like, ooh, ooh. Woo.
Like that. Land the plane.
Homelander, we got nothing but love for you, my friend. Hopefully,
nothing but love, brother. Nothing but love. It's all good to lose sometimes. That's what just happened to you, but it's all good, brother.
Oh my gosh. And on that note, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. It is John Costa, Clutch Talk, and Lakers Corner, along with Joe Soro and me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching. I thought that was going to be what Joe would do to Christian earlier, but man, just have to wait long enough. There you go. Robert Wheeler alert, everyone. Here we go.
Robert,
you knew it was coming at some point in time, Joe. The question bomb that he drops always during our show. John and Joe. So please answer this too, John. After watching the Lakers play Houston, I know they lost, but do you honestly believe the Lakers would lose to Houston in the 7-game series this year? I think the Lakers beat Houston in 6.
Let me answer YYC's question real quick because I did answer Robert's on the chat, but I'll talk about it as well.
Okay.
YYC asked, shot maker, a guy that can create his own shot or just know them down?
I think he's talking to me because I've said that.
You want to answer that?
Yeah, because when I talk about Austin,
I'm assuming he's asking, do we mean like a shot maker or
No, I think that Joe said the one because Rodell said Max would never be a consistent shot maker. What does that mean? D'Lo wasn't a consistent shot maker. Rui isn't a consistent shot maker. AR isn't a consistent. A lot of inconsistencies there. Max has a lot of basketball left to play. And remember, he is a big time Max Christie stan. So
was he asking what I
I think I think
All
that's
right,
we
let me
should
explain.
we
Let me
should
explain.
we should bundle all the shot makers.
Let me explain it. Max can't get to a spot and have an open shot. He doesn't have that capability. That's shot making. That's the ability to score. He can't get to a spot on a regular basis. See, the audience thinks that taking shots is easy. Oh, look, he took 50 shots. Oh, wow. I would score 20 points too if I shot 50 times. And the first thing I go is, bitch,
you wouldn't get to
try to take a shot. Have you ever tried to take a shot in the NBA? You have any idea how hard it is to shoot in the NBA when you have 6'8", 7-foot freaks hovering around you? Oh, you think because you saw Kobe shooting 46 times and Tracy McGrady and AI? Oh, yeah. AI threw it up 38 times. Yeah. Could you imagine a guy who's 5'11 and a half shooting 38 times in the NBA and dropping 35 on your ass? You have any idea how hard that is? You think it was hard Kobe dropping that? AI. Try having somebody AI size owning guys that are 6'8". That's how good he was. It's not easy to find a spot in the NBA and score on a regular basis. It's extremely hard. You know how hard it is? Even LeBron doesn't do it. He doesn't have to. LeBron can get to the basket anytime he wants. Even LeBron can't do it. It's very, very, very hard. The Lakers need someone that can score anywhere on the court, can shoot the three, and can, at the very least, make the other team worry about that guy. Because if that happens, guess what happens to the paint during defensive rebounds or offensive rebounds? Sorry. They go up because they can't just crash the boards. They're not worried. They're going to worry about that guy. They're going to have to put somebody on him. So imagine solving those two problems. You have a center that can create some kind of distraction down low to get a rebound. He can get the rebound as well. And then at the same time, you have someone that is a threat to get the ball and shoot. Those two things are what they need. If they can somehow find that, looking at the Kessler-Sexton deal, that is the exact two kind of players that this team needs. Now, I wish they could get better players. We all do. But I'm talking about realistically a chance to get something like that. Nick Richards and Melo, that's the ultimate dream, but that's not going to happen. I don't see that happening. But if Danny Ainge gets to Cinderella time when it's going to turn into the coach is going to turn into a pumpkin, maybe Rob might be able to slide something in there to tell Danny, look, you're not getting shit for what you want. Can you hook up your boy? Can you hook up your boy and we'll talk about some deals down the road? You get somebody like Sexton, you get somebody like Kessler. Now, yeah, they're not world beaters, but man, you have greatly increased your chances of competing with those two holes that you now have filled. Now, YYC, I think I answered this question, but let me get back to it real quick. Where was it?
I want to make sure we touch on Roberts because again,
I'm going to get to Roberts too as well. Let me just get this out of the way real quick. Where was it? Actually, I already answered this. Sorry. So Roberts
was based on
Robert. I answered this. I actually believe that. I believe Robert in that. I see them winning in 6 or 7. Yes, I think that the LeBron and the AD factor would play huge, and in the playoffs, pressure's a little tighter. Your best player, arguably, I know Sengun's probably the best player, but your guy Jalen is a little bit of a hothead. If he kind of veers off a little bit, he can be taken out of his game, and that's horrible in the playoffs. You can't do that. Rasheed Wallace learned that for almost a decade until he finally won because he couldn't keep himself focused. He's always angry. So yeah, I would say Robert's prediction on that. I feel confident that the Lakers can win that series.
Honestly, Robert, I don't want to say talent-wise. I mean, talent-wise, we're definitely not there. But come playoffs, the game is played so much differently. And the one thing about playoffs is that the games are not every day, so you get the rest. That rest of the LeBron James and Anthony Davis, we can have them healthy. I mean, as long as they come into playoffs healthy, and then as long as they're resting, I think we can do it. The only thing that I would really be fearful on is them turning this shit into a track meet. Because if they turn this into a track meet and it's turned into a long series, I think we'd get worn out just like regular series, but I'm like regular season.
Bruce Brown has been out the entire season. He just came back, has played, I think, 2 or 3 games for Toronto, Darren. He also, remember, his $23 million or thereabouts, I think, on his contract. It isn't expiring. So it is very attractive for Toronto to keep that money on the books and let it just wipe itself off. And so if you're going to go after him, might want to go ahead and wait until he becomes a buyout candidate. Well, actually, most of the teams can't get him as a buyout candidate because he costs too much. So you're going to have to hope that he gets traded somewhere. For the Lakers, I don't know what he gives you because, again, he has not been the same player since he left Denver in the finals. That's when he played. That's when he played his best, and I don't think you've seen anything close to that since. So,
Homelander, brother,
spent $23 million on him or thereabouts. I just don't think it's a wise move.
Homelander, I would love for you to ask the panel and ask all your friends and see if they actually watch Lakers and ask them who is a better playmaker. Ask them like, why did D'Angelo Russell even come into this league? I promise you, they're not going to say because of a scoring guard. Promise you, they're going to talk about his passing ability and his playmaking ability. Again, I am not bagging on Austin Reaves. He can do it, just not to the same level because it's not what he's naturally good at. He's naturally good at going to get a
team is one anytime this team has asked him to be the de facto point guard. I know that Vogel, I know that Ham has tried to do it. It did not have good results. Now this is the best. This is the best given in their defense. To come back at you on that, he is playing better
than he's ever done.
Than he's ever played.
And I give him that credit for that. And that's the thing. And that's the part that I'm not going to let anybody misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm giving him credit for that, but I'm just saying I don't know how sustainable this is because in the past of how I've seen it, and it's just a simple fact. D'Angelo Russell does that part of basketball better than he does. And that is just a fact. And that doesn't hurt him. That's not a bagging on him. It's just a fact. And if Homelander can't see that, I mean, just on him.
With D'Lo, it's always what
the defense.
Why couldn't he become a better player?
Agreed.
When his career is over, it's going to be he should have been better than what you saw actually for all.
Agreed. But that's just not what we're talking about here in this. But agreed. I 100% agree with that. But in this instance, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about playmaking and passing ability and AR and D'Angelo Russell. And there's a clear better player.
And with Doobie, saying, DFS is clearly better than D'Lo, do the trade 100 times out of 100, whatever he was saying. But I understand that. But for me, the reason why I'm beginning to think maybe we should not have done that trade is because if you really want to go, for lack of a better term, big game hunting for a premier player that can change the dynamic of this team, because all you guys are talking about are rotation players. When you talk about this player, talk about that player, you talk about this player, talk about that player. Kessler's a rotation player. Sexton's a rotation player. These guys just, when it comes right down to it, are not going to be able to, they make your team incrementally better, but they do not make your team substantially better. And I'm thinking if you really want to go ahead and with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, keep that window open, you have to go after someone that could really, really get you what you need in a playoff game. That, if LeBron or AD are not doing it, is there someone else that's going to, that's going to get you 20, 25 when it matters the most? And again, there are very select players out there that the Lakers could do that with those 2 first-round draft picks, but trading D'Lo away takes $20 million close to it off your books, and that's so hard to piece all that money together in order to do so without giving up AR and Rui along with it.
Tough Stu. He said
You made it harder, in essence, to go ahead and go after a big player.
Tough Stu said it in the chat perfectly. Couldn't have said it better. He could thread the needle with a pass to AD. He had a great crab dribble. Was just a good playmaker. I'm thinking that's what you're getting at here, Tough. But everything else was not so good at all. I am 100% there with you on that, Tough.
So, Joe, let me bring it back to you. And once again, it is the Lakers winning. Not wish. The Lakers losing 119 to 115. I was so excited there that they were close to it, but didn't execute down the stretch. Some ref calls. I know that after the game, fingers are being pointed at the refs. I just think the lack of execution again at late in the game. This is something that the Lakers have not been able to fine tune in recent weeks. As we lost Joe, hopefully we'll get him back. Is the lack of execution down the stretch today? Again, obviously one part of it was that offensive foul that AD got. Very questionable because it looked like a flop. Of course, also as well, LeBron James, though, kind of taking a rush 3 when he didn't need to take it. I think he could have set up for a better shot. The way that they're just walking the ball up the court with just under a minute to play, you got to be getting into your motions to think a little bit sooner. Just little things like that. I think, we've seen over the course of the past couple months, John, that have just not worked out well down the stretch. I think the Lakers, if they just work on some of these things, they could find themselves on the other end of the deal more often than not in these close game situations, John.
We could have absolutely. Oh, there you go, Joe. Joe, the floor is yours, brother. It's your turn.
Sorry,
your mic is fucked up. It sounds like you're a bandit now.
Back the old days when you had the Darth Vader voice.
There's something weird going on with Talk Studio.
I don't know. It sounds fine.
I switched to video and it blocked me off.
I don't know.
Gotta go refresh because your audio is
super... Yeah, refresh on that if you can.
Mission, brother. Why are you guys not listening to my takes? He said his D'Lo secret cousin of mine. I'm not defending him. I'm just telling a fact. Me saying he's a terrible defender and he's inconsistent on the offensive end. How is that defending him? No. I'm just defending his playmaking ability.
Joey, hold on. Gerald, you said last week we sweep Denver in a series. Do you think so? I've never had that conversation. I don't think I've said about Denver in a playoff series is that everybody fears Jokic because it's Jokic. I've never said any. Please, Joey, I don't want to quote Joe here, but don't put words in my mouth that were never said. I never quoted about meeting Denver in a series. Please find it. If you can find it in the last week, I may have said something. Oh, you may have said, okay, when the Lakers played I guess maybe we referred to the previous 2 years ago when they had the most competitive sweep in NBA history, as people call it. I guess that maybe. I don't know. Please just don't quote me something that I never said. And no. So, by the way, I think that would be a very competitive outcome, but Jokic is still obviously the key in that series. But go ahead, Joe. Bringing it back to you, my friend.
So what was the question you had?
The question I had was, when it comes right down to it with the Lakers getting this team to where it needs to be, I mean, the changes that need to be made, if there's any, to get this team better, I think that we took the back and forth on D'Lo semantics. He's gone now, so you might as well just move on from it. But when it comes right down to it, Joe, this team still, they can take the split in Texas, and they could still have a really good month that could set themselves up for the rest of the season.
They still need help. We've gone through that. And winning during this homestand is crucial to the momentum going into what will be a very interesting trade deadline for them. And then they don't have to kill themselves after the deadline like they have the last couple of years and burning themselves out. they might have a better shot at playing somebody like Denver at that point if they're not killing themselves to get into the playoffs. Then they only make it to the play-in. They got to play an extra game. It's a lot of perspiration there. And in the NBA, to open some things up for Joey out here, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good a team is against somebody else. If you look at any team in sports, there's always one team that causes, no matter how great that team is, an issue. It's always not. So let's use something that you all probably know. I could have gone back a little bit here, but so the Patriots couldn't beat the Giants in the Super Bowl twice. It just the Giant and the one time that they did beat the Giants, they barely won a season-ending regular season game. And it's just because the Giants matched up very well with what they were trying to do. And sometimes that happens. In the NBA right now, the Lakers are the Patriots to the Denver Giants. Denver has them mentally. They have them scheme-wise. And they have the MVP on their team. And this is as valuable a player that we've seen in the last 5 years to a team. It's just what it is. And for some reason, Porter Jr. and Jamal, and when Aaron Gordon's playing, these guys seem to turn it up a notch against the Lakers. It happens.
Yeah, the Denver Nuggets would still be favored in the series, and there's no way I would say that the Lakers would be sweeping the Denver Nuggets in a series right now. That I don't know, Joey. Again, no one on this panel, to my recollection, has said that in the past 2-3 weeks or since the DFS trade. I never mentioned or have not heard anybody mention DFS specifically when you're talking about guarding MPJ. I think you're getting our show mixed up with another ones. I know that those other run-of-the-mill Lakers shows are always talk about that kind of stuff, but yeah, unfortunately, that was not said here. That's a crazy take as far as saying that somebody's going to sweep somebody at this point in time. We're 35 games into the season.
They could sweep them if Jokic has an end of the season injury.
Yeah, that changes the things altogether. But
not a healthy Jokic, not a healthy team in general. No.
Yeah.
Until the Lakers beat these guys in the regular season, they're gonna have a chance here in a few months.
Yeah.
Then we'll see if they can get out of that rut mentally, and then if they do face in the playoffs, then the Lakers can nip that in the butt. But the Lakers need to have a couple more guys that can help them. Otherwise, they're gonna have to spread themselves too thin on their way to getting this right.
You see that, John? 24.
Mission, okay. Come on, gang. Of course we do.
Welcome to our world.
Yes.
What happened?
M24 was just joking with John to say, we're just trying to use you as a punching bag for now to deal with this loss. Homelander, I got you come up with second, but I think Robert had one first. John and Joe, has the floor and ceiling changed for how the Lakers season will end compared to the start of the season? For me, the Lakers floor is first round exit and ceiling is the Lakers winning the chip. I don't have the Lakers winning the championship. They just don't have a roster that is going to push past any of those teams. So my ceiling is not there. My ceiling has been raised. Obviously, when you pick the Lakers, as I did, for 9th place finish, you're now playing in a more competitive fashion. But yeah, I don't see them anywhere near a championship team at this point in time yet.
Joey, did he really say that?
It was Lakers Nation.
It was Lakers Nation. Yeah, thank you, Joey. Okay, I'm not as bland as Trevor. I have actually personality. Trevor Lane. I have actual personality. Trevor Lane is, credit to him and the number of subscribers he's had and how long he's been doing it. But the guy is cardboard.
Facts.
Cardboard.
Did he really say that?
I wouldn't doubt it.
Maybe all those older, white guys look alike. I don't know.
I agree, Jarvis. Adebayo is terrible.
I don't know.
But I don't. Yeah, I also don't think that the Lakers
No
ceiling
worries.
is the
All
championship.
that's forgiven. He said that the DFS trade would help lock down MPJ, and he said Denver lost to the Pelicans in Portland, so they are bad this year.
Yeah, but back to what I said, it doesn't matter if they lose to Portland the entire way. The Lakers lost. The Lakers got swept by the Sonics in 2002. Still on the championship.
Yeah.
The regular season is
they don't get
marathon.
up for every game.
It's a marathon. It's
not a race.
It's not gonna. It dictates your destination, but you're gonna lose no matter who you are. You're gonna lose at least a handful of games to really bad teams or teams that are very inferior to you.
Homelander is now switching to me. Gerald, what would AD need to do? Is it a mental thing, or is a Joker just tougher and better than AD? Well, I think it's a little bit of each. Again, when you have AD going out there getting you 25 and 10, in this case, he got us 30 and 13 and 5 blocks. I get that. I want to look at that side just as much as I want to look at those other little things maybe tonight that he could have changed differently to help make these things happen. But to an extent, it could be mental. You know, those free throws that are missed constantly by him down the stretch. But when he's a 80% shooter from the line, you know, there's little things I would like to see him change his game. But maybe it is a little bit up here. But it's going to be hard for him to change because he's already 31 years old. He's already been in the league 13 years. So it's really, really difficult for someone at that period of time to change who they are. But maybe it is a little bit of toughness because we even talked about earlier today, John, when he could have. Okay, Segun's not blocking your shot. So why are you still trying to float shots up there and underhand shots up there for layup? Why aren't you just trying to slam it and get the call? Sometimes I don't understand what AD does because he's what 6'10", 6'11", whatever you want to say he is, 7 foot. He's 200 and what 60? He's 250, 260, Joe?
Yeah, I think it's 260.
260. Okay. Yeah. And he's still putting up their things soft and he tries to lay it up. And I'm just thinking to myself, God, if I was that height and weight, I know it's easy for me to say this, but man, I'd just be putting it up there against a guy like Sengun with a little bit more force, against Sabonis with a little more force. Sabonis is not blocking my shot. Sengun is not blocking my shot. Jokic is not blocking my shot with AD's, you know, athletic gifts and size. I just don't get it, John. Sometimes let me bring it back to you that why you know, and Homelander's got a great point. Is it a mental thing? Is it just who he is? Just his, you know, his makeup on who he is?
I honestly think that's who he is, and that's part of the reason why I really believe that AD will never be a 1A. Like I just don't think he has that dog in him. I think it can come out at times, but it doesn't naturally have it, and I think that and that's how I started it. I started the stream by going on an AD rant. I said, you got Dylan Brooks who's 6'6" on you, and you're 6'11". That's got to be, you know what I'm saying, fried chicken all day. That's got to be you got to eat that up, but he didn't. So I don't know. Yeah. But I'm about to hop into my recap really quick though. But
okay, on behalf of Trevor Lane here, I will say thanks so much again. We're going to be heading out pretty soon anyways, but it is John Costa, Clutch Talk on Lakers Corner. Please go ahead and subscribe to him today, right wherever you get your podcasts. Truly appreciate, John, all the stuff that you did today on Playback and, of course, here on the Lakers Fast Break.
Thank you, guys. Follow Lakers Corner for more Lakers updates. I'm about to do a recap right now on it if you want to get a recap on the game. But appreciate you, Homelander. It's all love, brother. And I will see you guys. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday.
Absolutely. You the same, my friend. Once again, John Costa, Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. Right there for you. Please subscribe today. I would love their subscriber base. Again, as much as we knock Trevor Lane on this show and on this channel, the bland presentation, like et cetera, you got to admit he's got the audience, and that's something we are striving for every day. And with your help, we can get that and make that happen. Joe, I know that you're about ready to when you make that look and make that little smirk, you're about ready to go ahead and pop off on me. So I will let you go ahead and do so. I know we got some good things hopefully tomorrow. Alfred Esmond, I'm trying to arrange a time with him. Sean said he wants to do a show tomorrow as well, so we'll see what we can do about that. But any last thoughts, my friend, before you take a shot at me? before we head on out?
Flavorless chicken is what the other guy is. Some people like that, I guess. Plus, he's
He was
backed up.
first, though. He was first.
He's backed up by something, though, isn't he? We're not backed up by anything.
Yeah, we're not backed up, but
Yeah,
he's
it's
probably
easy
got
to
some help.
it's easy to do when you have backup. It's always easy when someone else is fitting the bill. So, to put a button on tonight, the Lakers can't be yapping about the refs. I'm already seeing some stuff on X about how they're blaming the refs. Refs do have a part in certain games, but it can't be every game. And when you freeze a picture and say, "See, they should have done this because it froze." Look, he called a timeout before Max threw the ball in. People don't refs and real life doesn't slow down like that, folks. You have to make an assessment as it's going. And the problem tonight was too many mental mistakes in a 48-minute game. And if you had tightened those up a little bit, you would have won this game. So take what you got tonight, beat Dallas in Dallas, and get your butt back to LA and start really making a run here. A nice 6-game winning streak would be a way for the Lakers to start really being able to move LeBron and AD in certain spots so that they can rest too. That's how I'm moving. That's right now very important until Rob Pelinka figures out a way to get some reinforcements here.
And we'll see what happens. But tomorrow we'll be back with more great shows. And then, of course, Tuesday, it is the Dallas game, which we'll have on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. And, of course, the best Lakers post game that's out there. No, not on Lakers Nation. Right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Okay. Now I've been confused, Joe, with Trevor Lane. Now I've lived a full life, Joe, I guess. So there you go. But Johnny says, AD, it's better have Joker's lunch money every day. AD is nowhere near Joker. Nobody's going to argue with Joker. 3-time MVP. I don't know how you can argue with that. He's a great player. He literally keeps Denver, despite all the other issues going on that team, to where they're at today. I've never argued with you on the greatness of Jokic. He is the best player of this decade, in my opinion. Would you say I'm wrong on that, Joe?
No.
Yeah. So
it could be the back end could end up being Wembanyama, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think he has enough time.
I don't think he has enough time either. I think Wemby's years like 28, 29, 30. I think that's where we're really going to see Wembanyama shine out there. But it could be sooner. You never know. Johnny says, what are you talking about? Joker at Niles? Oh, he's just having a talk with the chat. So, yes. Please don't fight amongst each other. Just respectfully disagree. But again, I'm almost talking about air when I say that because you guys just don't listen anyways. But it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. It is, of course, Joe Soro. Please support him by going over to Steam and getting the Indie Darling Indie Fighting Game of the Year, Corrupt. Coreupt. It is available right now on Steam. If you got a Steam Deck, be rocking it right there for you on that, just like that OLED action right there. Sweet, right there. Again, it is Coreupt on Steam. And then, of course, also as well, he's got SimBlades, the company that he owns. If you lived in the SoCal area, he can help you out with the new lawn or more. Go ahead and check out what he does at SimBlades, simbladesby.com. The Lakers lose 119-115, but we'll be back with more great programming for you tomorrow. And, of course, all week, we are here. Darren says, Gerald, you almost banned me when I said something to that degree. About AD and Jokic. Okay, I don't remember, but all right. Jokic again, better than AD. We're not going to argue. But with that, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate having you here. Looking forward to seeing you if you'll stop by tomorrow. And in preceding days, make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe. You get that notification next time we go on the air. right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.
Dan.